Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the absolutely brutal, high-stakes war for India's food delivery market. I mean, this was a clash of titans, and it gives us a perfect masterclass in strategy, branding, and honestly, just sheer survival.
So how did it all start? Well, it began with these app notifications that, they almost felt like a mistake. We're talking about a fierce, all-out price war. Companies were just bleeding cash on deals that seemed way too good to be true. And it was all part of this desperate scramble to grab a piece of India's massive, growing digital economy.
And things escalated fast. The next thing you know, free delivery becomes the new weapon of choice. This set a totally unsustainable precedent for customers, right? It created this vicious cycle where everyone was just trying to one-up each other, basically trying to buy your loyalty one free delivery at a time.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. Millions of dollars just vanishing into thin air every single month. This wasn't just your standard marketing spend. No way. This was a high-stakes poker game where everyone was all in, pushing their companies right to the edge in this ruthless, relentless pursuit of market dominance.
So, that brings us to the big question, right? In a war where literally everyone is losing money on every single order, how do you actually win? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the battle-tested playbook that finally answered that very question.
Okay, let's set the stage here. The prize was huge, a massive market of millions of new app users who were just hungry for convenience. And into this totally chaotic arena, three major players stepped into the ring.
So, who were the contenders? First up, you've got Zomato. They started as a restaurant review site, a local favorite, and then evolved into a delivery powerhouse. Then there's Swiggy, the scrappy startup that was obsessed with logistics right from day one. And finally, stepping into the ring with a massive war chest, you have the global giant, Amazon.
Now, it quickly became clear that Amazon was kind of struggling to make a dent, so the real fight, the main event, was between the two local champs, Zomato and Swiggy. And honestly, they could not have picked more different strategies. This was a true clash of philosophies, the brand versus the machine.
Okay, so check this out. Zomato went for the heart. They invested everything in becoming a lifestyle brand, building a real emotional connection with their users. Swiggy, on the other hand, was all about perfecting the mechanics. They were completely obsessed with logistics, building this incredible delivery machine with their own fleet, dark kitchens, the whole shebang.
And here's where Zomoto's strategy gets really, really smart. Their masterstroke was basically weaponizing culture. They went way beyond just being a utility app. They used gamification, super savvy influencer collabs, and this bold, funny voice on social media. They became a viral sensation. They literally embedded their brand deep inside India's youth culture.
So you might be wondering, what happened to that deep-pocketed giant Amazon? Well, their big adventure into Indian food delivery was, to put it mildly, a surprisingly short-lived failure. They had this big, splashy launch in 2020, and by 2023, the entire thing was shut down, just gone. And their failure really highlights a crucial lesson from this whole war. Having deep pockets is basically useless if you don't have deep focus. They just lacked that hyper-local knowledge and on-the-ground operational muscle. Understanding India's crazy addresses, the traffic, the regional tastes. It meant that even a monster company like Amazon was totally outmatched.
All right, let's talk about the end game. Just when it looked like this insane cash burn was just going to go on forever, Zomato made a critical, game-changing pivot, and it completely rewrote the rules of the game.
So what did they do? They shifted their whole strategy. Instead of just burning cash on one-time discounts, they started building a sustainable model. They brought in these awesome loyalty programs like Zomato Pro and Gold that gave users real exclusive benefits. This locked people into their ecosystem and created a stable, recurring revenue stream, all built on deep partnerships with restaurants. And the impact of this pivot? It was just staggering. Zomato surged ahead, grabbing the lion's share of the market. The numbers don't lie. Their brand-first, loyalty-driven strategy had totally paid off. It was proof that a real emotional connection with your customers could be way more powerful than just a simple discount.
And all of this led to the grand finale, a blockbuster $12 billion IPO. Think about that number. This wasn't just about the money, though. It was a declaration of victory. It cemented Zomato's place as the undisputed leader, not just in India, but in the eyes of the entire global market.
So what's the takeaway here?
For you, the founder, the strategist, or even if you're just a curious observer, what can we learn from this epic battle? Well, Zomato's story gives us a clear, battle-tested playbook. So let's break it down into 4 key lessons. Lesson 1, deep market focus will always be deep pockets. You have to be obsessed with your market. 2, hyperlocal is your secret weapon. Your on-the-ground logistics have to be flawless. 3, brand connection is just as powerful as discounts. You've got to build a loyal community. And finally, lesson 4, know when to pivot from loss to loyalty. Shifting from growth at all costs to sustainability, that's the key to winning in the long run.
So yeah, Zomato won the food delivery war. But here's the thing. Their winning playbook, it's out there now for everyone to see. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question. Who will win India's next great tech war? What's the next big battleground? And who's going to be the one to take these lessons and claim the next crown?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today,